All right, everybody, and welcome back to the Started Somewhere show. I'm your host, Russ Alex. Now, today, my friends, I have a rock star entrepreneur joining us from Columbus, Ohio, and his name's Austin. Austin, welcome to the show, bro.
What's up, my brother? Appreciate you having me on, man. I'm excited.
Hey, man. We were just talking offline, bro. We actually linked up at the 10X Growth Con like 4 or 5 years ago
Yep,
down
it's
in
a small
Miami.
world.
And yeah, it's been some time, man. But I'm sure that your business has grown exponentially, and you've been up to some busy things since then, man. So I can't wait to, dive into what you're doing and what kind of things you've learned since then, over the last couple of years. So for anybody out there that doesn't know who you are, can you just give us kind of like a brief intro?
Yeah. So tell me when to stop, or I'll keep it kind of brief. But my name's Austin Rutherford from Columbus, Ohio. Was born here, went to school here. My dream was to be an NBA ball player, so I went to Phoenix, Arizona, to play basketball at JUCO out there. A year after I graduated high school, and fell out of love with the game. Started reading. That's when I picked up the love for real estate. Came back to Columbus and bought my first duplex that I still have today as a rental property when I was 19 years old, and then flipped my first house when I was 21 years old. So that's kind of how I got started in the game.
Boom. Wow. Okay. Lot going on there. So you went to school, did you Arizona State?
No. It was just a JUCO out there.
Nice. And you wanted to be an NBA player.
That was the dream. It
I
was all
like
day,
it,
every day.
man. I like it. But you said you lost love for the game. What happened?
I don't know, man. It just got to the point, like, did it all day, every day. I'd work up, I get up, I work out, I go to school, I'd work out, I'd eat, I work out. And it just got to the point where, like, I didn't even want to touch the rock anymore. Like, I was the first or second in the team in every category: points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, everything. So, like,
Mm.
I was doing well, but it just, like, it got to the point where I just never wanted to touch the rock again. I don't know what it was. I think I just got burned out on it, honestly.
Wow. Okay. Did you end up graduating the school out there?
No, no.
Oh, okay. So we got a dropout. We got a
Drop
dropout
out.
on our hands. All right. Well,
Good.
it's good, man. And I'm meeting more and more entrepreneurs on this show that have dropped out. I dropped out, so now I don't feel so bad about me dropping out.
Hey, that's the way it is now,
But
bro.
yeah, what made you want to drop out?
I mean, school was never it. Like, I always had straight A's. Like, I don't know. I got school, but it wasn't all that. I promised my mother growing up, like, I swore up and down I'd get my college degree. She made me promise her, go to school, get a degree, get a good job.
Mm.
And I went to school out there, fell out of love with the game, and fell in love with real estate. And I promised my mom, I'd still get my degree. So I was going to school full time, taking 15 credit hours, and I flipped my first house, made $103,000 net profit. I
Oof.
continued. I continued going to school full time. I continued working my valet job. I flipped my second house, made $40,000 net profit. Continued to, well, at the time I was still working. I was still going to school, and once I sold that one, made 150 grand before I was 22, and I was like, "Ma, you never gonna see me graduate." And she was
Oh
like, "No."
man,
Yeah.
how did she react to that news?
No, she was cool with it.
Yeah.
She knew I was in the real estate game. I showed her the checks, so I mean, there's nothing she could really say at that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but it was just funny, kind of how it all
Yeah,
transpired.
definitely. I mean, hey, numbers don't lie, right? If you're doing something and it's working and you enjoy doing it,
Yeah,
why not just go full throttle and go all in,
agreed, bro.
right?
There's no way, there's no reason to half-ass stuff like that. That doesn't get
Yeah.
anybody in, bro.
So, how did you find out about real estate? Because you mentioned that you were valeting cars, so you've had
Yep,
jobs before.
yep.
How did you find out about real estate?
Yeah, so when I was out in Arizona, like I said, fell out of love with the game, but I always liked money. I always had hustles. I was shoveling driveways, I was cutting grass, I was making Buckeye necklaces, I was flipping candy at high school. So I always loved money. I always liked having money. So I got a valet job when I was out there, and so that was my hustle while I finished school, finished that semester to valet, and just started reading a lot of books. I don't know why I started reading, because I hate reading. I never read in high school, but I read.
Meanwhile, you have a library behind you.
Now I read. but picked up some books. And so first book I read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Mm.
And that changed the game for me when I was 18 years old. And then I kept reading and I read something that said, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it said 90% of all people who file a tax return with $1 million or more on it had real estate in their portfolio. I was like, well, shit, that's how I'm going to get rich. So
Mm.
just fell in love with it, dove into it, bought more books, and just kept educating myself on real estate in general.
Nice, man. You know, valeting cars is the one job I think that I would never succeed at. Like
Bro, it's the way.
when I go to valet my car at restaurants or hotels or whatever, it's like I always just look at those valet attendees like, wow, like major props to anybody that does it, you know, to put food on the table. But the back and forth, you know, and then in the cold, forget
Rain,
it, bro.
snow,
The
hail,
rain,
bro.
forget it, bro. Forget it. Especially when the lot is like far away. You guys
Yeah.
gotta run back and forth, and people stiff you on tips and shit. And damn,
Yeah, I
man.
feel it, bro. I know it. I know it
Yeah.
all.
So you wanted to get out of that, of course.
Yep.
And so you started reading, right? You mentioned Think and Grow Rich, super powerful, like one of the best books any entrepreneur could ever read.
Yep.
But what did it look like for you? Like, what was the gap like for you to start reading to learning about real estate, right?
Yeah. So that, I mean, the process kind of looked again, just started reading for whatever reason, started reading. And in Think and Grow Rich, they talk about journaling and becoming like knowing yourself.
Mm,
So at that same time, I started journaling. So we lived in a 3-story condo. I went up to the rooftop every day and just went up there and journaled for like 30, 45, 60 minutes. And all my friends, all my teammates was making fun of me, like, what's this clown doing? Blah, blah, blah. I would just go up there and just think about myself, because I was lost, honestly, because like basketball was my life and I never wanted to see a basketball again. So like I was lost, you know what I mean?
mm,
So I turned to reading and I turned to journaling, and I was up on the rooftop one day. Again, I don't know why, but the next building over behind the backyard, I don't even know how many, but it was an apartment complex. It was like 10, 20, 30 units or something.
mm,
And it just clicked. I was like, if all of them have to pay rent, who owns the building? So I
mm.
started journaling all the numbers and everything. And I was like, real estate. So then I read later that week or something, I read the fact about the millionaire or whatever,
Right.
and then just fell in love
Just
with
one
it. I
thing led
love the
to
idea
another.
of residual income, you
Mm.
know, money that you comes in no matter what you do. That's what I fell in love with.
Cash flow.
So
Right.
yeah,
I
for
like
sure.
it. You know, you said something there. I want to revisit. You said that your basketball buddies were poking fun at you and whatnot. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs when they first get started, they deal with that, right? Like their immediate circle
Absolutely.
thinks that they're crazy.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to like going out on Fridays and Saturdays. I know I can relate to that. Like my friends started busting my chops and making fun of me and
Yep.
calling me crazy and
Yep.
whatnot. So how did you deal with that? Like, and how did that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean it sucks coming from some people because like you just wouldn't expect it, and especially like if you're younger, like that stuff still gets to you. You know what I mean? Now
Mm,
I brush it off because like I already know what it is,
of
but like
course.
back in the day, you don't know that. You know what I mean? So it hurts. You know, you go to dark times. You know, you feel bad about yourself sometimes. But for me, I've always had like a bigger goal. I've always wanted more for something, and I got no problem sacrificing stuff to get something that I desire. So it was weird at first, but I got used to it.
Mm,
So after that, like when I decided I wanted to flip houses, from the day I made that decision to the day I made money was a 16-month process. 16 months of being dead broke, going to school full time, working ballet full time, and like I literally had my friends call me like, "You good, bro? Like, why don't you ever come out? Why don't we ever see you no more? Like, what's going on? Do you not like us?"
yeah.
And there's tough times, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
we all go through the struggle. We all go through the
It's
late
tough,
nights. We all
man.
go through the 4 a.m. Working, but it's
Yeah.
just something you gotta do.
Yeah, I learned something really early on, and it goes like, if you want to know who your real friends are, just start a business. you know,
That's fine.
and
That's fine.
people just drop out like flies, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
man, I dig it, man. It's a tough period. For anybody that's listening right now that's just getting started and maybe you're already going through that, it's a tough period, but it won't last long. It won't last long. And there's a very high chance that the people that drop out or call you crazy or make fun of you will end up asking you how you did it when they
or
see
for a
you.
job.
Yeah, or for a job, right? Definitely, man. So tell us about your first deal, right? Because there's a lot of people that are just getting started in real estate, and that's the toughest part for them is they learn, they went to a seminar, they went to a boot camp, they read books, they watch YouTube videos, and they know how to do a deal. They just haven't actually done one yet. So what did your first deal look like?
So I kind of have two first deal. First one I'm gonna brush over real quick. It was a duplex that I bought as a rental property when I was 19 years old. My parents never let me spend a dime when I was growing up. So all the money I was hustling, I was saving. So I had $30,000 to my name as a 19-year-old kid. So I bought the duplex to cash flow off the MLS, and it was 100% turnkey. And then my dad co-signed the loan for me. So just a lot of great things that happened throughout my life leading up to that led me to that deal. But my first deal that I flipped, which is what I count as my first deal, I bought into a mentorship program. And then from that point to the time I actually made a penny was a 16-month process. It was the grind. It was a struggle every single day. I was broke. I was working 70 hours a week valeting. It was bad. But I started sending out like direct mail, and I was only people always say like, I don't have money to market or whatever. That's cool. That's bullshit, because I didn't have money to market. I was broke. But I'd spend, $200-300 a week, whatever I had to market for deals. And finally, somebody called me back off a direct mail campaign and went to look at the house. And it ended up being, it was a $70,000 purchase, a $170,000 construction budget, and a 375 ARV. So it was a massive deal. I was 21 years old. I've never been in construction. I've never been in business. I've never had, real estate background, nothing. I just leaned into people that were around me, and through Facebook and through going to networking events for the 10-month period before I bought that house, and ended up raising the $240,000 from a private money lender. Had a buddy of mine that I met at a meetup come and look at the house, make sure I wasn't crazy, and I actually knew the numbers. And then hired a general contractor to help with the build, and stumbled my way through it, learned a lot of lessons. Took 6 months from buy to sell. But, like I said, made $103,000 after that. So that biggest excuse I'm sure you hear, I don't have money or I don't have experience. Doesn't matter.
So 21 years old, $103,000 profit.
Yeah. Now,
your average, uneducated, wrong mindset individual, me at 21 years old, especially, gets 103K. I'm probably going to blow it. I think I'm probably going to think I'm already a millionaire. I'm going to go out and blow it. And splurge. So what'd you do, with that 100K?
It sounds crazy, but I literally did not spend a dime of it. I didn't even buy a pair of basketball. I didn't even buy a pair of sneakers. I didn't go on any trips, and I continued working valet 70, 80 hours a week. And I continued going to school full time, taking 15 credit hours, and worked my ass off for the next 3 months until I flipped my second house, which then I made $40,000 on it. And then I quit everything.
No shit. 103K, you're still valeting cars full time and going to school.
Yeah.
Wow. Y'all hear that? That's dedication to the grind right there, man. I like it.
Sure. I mean,
what was the reason for did you just feel like it wasn't enough, or did you feel like you weren't ready yet? Because I get asked that question all the time. It's like, how do I know when to quit my job?
Yeah. With 103K, you can probably quit your job. You know what I mean? But for me, I promised my mother I'd get my degree. So I stuck to that. And when I sold that house, I didn't have anything else in the pipeline. So it was kind of fear, FOMO of not having something else. Right. So honestly, I wish I'd have quit sooner, because I know that 3-4 month period where I continued to work, I could have been, a year ahead of where I am today. But yeah, I just wanted something bigger, and I was a little bit scared. I just didn't know where the next deal was coming from.
Yeah, a lot of new investors certainly deal with that. The lack of the next project, especially if you're in an ultra hot market. I don't know what the market's like where you're at, but down in Texas, some deals, they only last a couple hours on the market, or a wholesaler puts out a brand new deal, that deal's already gone in 20 minutes. So it's tough. And you said something that's really powerful. that you started doing your own marketing, right? How important in real estate is it to do your own marketing?
Massive. People, this is the biggest thing that I see people have struggle with. And we do not own real estate companies. We own marketing companies.
Boom.
Without leads, we don't have deals. Without deals, we don't make any money. So I get a lot of people that say like, well, I'm going to start real estate, but I'm not going to spend any money until I make any money. You have to hit a needle in a haystack to be able to do that. Like every few people can do that, but you have to market. That is the key driver in this business. To this day, almost 6 years in, I've never missed 1 week of marketing ever in my entire career.
Really? Wow. And what's your favorite marketing strategy right now?
Right now it's probably cold calling. So we do direct mail, cold calling, RVM, SMS, and social media.
Okay. So cold calling, you guys are getting some good results right now in your area?
Yeah, it's slowed down now because I feel like there's more and more people starting to cold call. But I mean, we're still pulling deals from it. But everyone says direct mail's dying, but we're still getting deals from direct mail all the time.
Dude, direct mail is where it's at, in my opinion. Like
It's never gonna
I
leave.
have not found a better strategy, and even in my personal business, I buy a lot from wholesalers
Yeah,
because I'm a fix and flip guy myself, so I kind of just like getting served deals.
yeah,
But I understand that, of course, to get the best deal, I have to market myself, and direct mail has never let me down, like
agreed.
ever. The other strategies definitely powerful, but I mean, even in 2020, direct mail is still very relevant.
100%.
Sweet, man. So, how long have you been in the game now? You said 6 years, right?
Yeah, like going on 6, like 5.5, something
Okay.
like that.
So, just like any entrepreneur, right? I'm sure you've had your ups and your downs.
For
And,
sure.
being an entrepreneur is like a freaking roller coaster half the time, right? It's like up, down, up, down. We have our moments, we have our victories. Being that this is the Start It Somewhere show, let's talk about that, man. What were some of the biggest challenges that you've had to face over the last 6 years?
Yeah, no, great question. Everyone always talks about their successes, but they never talk about the struggle. So the biggest thing that I've had issues with for the entire 6 years is contractors. Finding good, reliable contractors has been a pain in the butt for me. So that's one thing. But throughout, as you go through this, your mindset's going to change. You're really going to find out yourself. You're going to find out who you really are. And every time you break past that barrier, you look back like, why didn't I do that sooner? You know what I mean? So I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. And I mean, we fight it to this day. I'm sure you do as well. You run into a roadblock, damn, but we know now we have to go through it, and we just go through it versus, I don't know about you, but I used to like shelter from it and push it off a little bit. But you just got to get through it. And
I agree.
I mean, the other thing is creating other streams of income. Like real estate is great, but like if it's slow for a month, you got to have other money coming in somehow. So that's what I've been focusing on is getting other things going.
Yeah, man. I agree 1,000%. I read a quote the other day that said, the stresses in your life come from the things that you ignore.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could not agree more with that statement because a lot of times, more often than not, we put things off because we don't want to face them. Like we just want to close the door and just act like it doesn't exist because it causes us like anxiety or stress or depression, whatever it is. But that thing doesn't necessarily go away, right?
Yeah.
It actually doesn't go away. It's still there. So, what would you tell somebody that's been putting things off for a while and like it's just bottling up and they're scared to face that one thing,
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you said it best. Like, it never disappears ever. Like, if you pay attention, something as simple like I'd be laying on the couch back when I was living with my parents, and like I'd be like, all right, I got to get up and do my chore. Or I got to get up and send this email, and I put it off for 20 seconds, and then my parents come home and I get yelled at for not doing a chore or something.
Right.
And in business, especially like, oh crap, I gotta send this email. Nah, I don't want to send that. It's gonna take too long. And then boom, they call you like, hey, I'm waiting on the email. What's going on? every single time you push something off, it comes back around, and it only gets worse because you pushed it off. So it's just it's a muscle you have to train in your brain to just do it. You know what I mean? As soon as something comes to me now, like I do it, or I text myself to remind myself. But it's something pertinent. You just got to do it. Like it's that simple.
You just gotta do it. It's like the power of right now,
Yeah.
right? Like my mentor used to beat me up all the time because I'd put things off. Like, say I forgot something in the car, I'd be like, "Oh, I'll get it later." He goes, "No, you're gonna go
Yep.
get it now." I'd be like, all right, I'll go get it." You know?
But it like you said, like okay, business and getting somebody your car. The way that you do one of those is how you're gonna do everything. It's how your
Mm,
subconscious is gonna think about all those things. So it's like every aspect of life, you have to like stay on top of it, and you got to do things when they need done, when they come up.
boom. I dig it, man. So with that being said, you have 24 hours in the day, right? And as entrepreneurs, obviously, there's no one to tell us what to do and when to do it. So
Yep.
what does the average day like for Austin Rutherford?
Yeah, no, great question. Day's never the same, but that's for all of us. So up to about 5 months ago, I was still in the real estate business. I had an acquisitions team, I had a transaction coordination team, but I was helping manage the rehabs.
Mm,
I was moving the private money, and I was dispoing, our wholesale deals. And then I hired a dispo girl that runs like majority of that. I still handle the private money, but she handles the contractors, she handles the dispo side. So I ended up with a lot of time, and I would just sit in the office, and I'd feel guilty for leaving the office, which doesn't make any sense. So us as an entrepreneur, we find more things to do. So now I'm focused on growing the education business.
mm.
And building, I just dropped a podcast. I just opened up a YouTube channel about a month and a half ago. Posting on Instagram every day. I just hired a full-time videographer 2 weeks ago. So now my day is, stacked full of just pumping content and building brand. But I get up, work on myself from about 5:30 to about 8 or 8:30. And then I work on the brand business, on the education business, the rest of the day.
Dude, yeah, I mean, you seem to have a really structured day. I mean, obviously, I follow you on Instagram. I always see you're up at 5 a.m. in your home gym. Everyone else's gyms are closed right now, but
Bro, I can't tell you how many messages I got. Like, bro, let me come through.
yeah, dude, I'm seeing people buying like dumbbells on Craigslist and stuff, just so they could work out. Because, for the listeners out there, we are currently dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. And
Yeah,
today is March 27th, so it's still very much active whenever you're
yeah,
listening to this. So everything's closed, right? But yeah, I mean, you have a really structured day, and I think that's awesome, man. I think that, having structure and a routine as an entrepreneur is like one of the best ways to get to where you want to go results wise. So what gets you up at 5 a.m., man? Like how do you kind of force yourself to do that?
yeah. No, I'm not a morning person. So I struggle getting up in the morning. Some days I sleep in. We'll call a spade a spade. But my goal is to be in the gym by 5:30. Work out like 5:30 to 6:30. Eat breakfast. Do my affirmations, prayer, journal, and read. So that's like my morning routine.
Mm.
But the two things that get me up in the morning, one is just knowing that I want to do something more. And every day that I don't get up early, I feel guilty and I'm mad at myself. And my day is just terrible because I feel like I'm chasing everything versus being proactive. So one, just knowing like I have to get up to like get the goals that I want to get. And two, I'm blessed. My girlfriend gets up early, so she helps me out as well.
I'm sure some morning she has to throw some cold water on your face. Get the fuck up. But man, studying successful people, right? 8-figure earners, 9-figure earners, they're very disciplined people. Like
Yeah,
success loves when you're disciplined.
yeah,
And that's tough for a lot of people. I mean, it's tough for me, right? And it's just we're humans.
yeah.
So, what are some tips for the people out there listening on how to become more disciplined with yourself?
More discipline with yourself. Getting a routine. That'd be the first thing. Figure out a routine. Like it's like clockwork for me. I hit the gym. I shower. I pray. I do my manifestation while I'm sitting in the shower. I eat breakfast, I read, I journal, and then I get to work. So it's the same thing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Every day.
Um, yeah, every single day. And I go to bed between 9 and 10 o'clock at night. Instead of going out and kicking it with the homies till midnight, 1 o'clock. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like Saturday, we'll go out and party, but like Monday to Friday, like I'm locked in. I'm zoned in because I have that routine. So getting in a routine is something that I definitely think is probably the biggest thing. But then just wanting more, you know what I mean? The thing I hate the most is when people talk about, they want to make $1 million. Making $1 million is not easy. Like you can't just like poof, I made $1 million. But once you make $1 million, you can create millions because you understand the process of money. But people who talk about, yeah, I'm gonna make 1 million this year, and they don't do anything to make $1 million. Like you have to put in the work to get there. So it just irritates me. But
Yeah.
getting a routine and then actually putting in the work to hit the goals that you want to hit. And if you only want to make $50,000, $100,000 a year, like you don't got to work that hard.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to really create a life and make millions of dollars, like you got to put the time in the front end.
Dude, I couldn't agree more, man. That hits hard because a lot of people want the results, but they don't want to put in the work. They just don't,
bro.
They
You
just
got to put
don't.
that full print.
Yeah. 1,000%. Now, throughout your day, do you ever find yourself not knowing what to do next?
No, I mean, I stay pretty busy. So like every Sunday, I plan my week, every Saturday, Sunday. So I have like I don't know where it's at, but I have like a piece of paper that like breaks down what I want to do for myself to work on me, what I need to do every week, just like weekly things like workout, things that you do every week. And then I have each business listed on the list. And then it's like my top like 5 things for each business that I have to go through. So anytime like I finish and I don't have anything to do, I just go back to that list because I know I got to get it all done by the end of the week. So usually that keeps me busy, but I mean, there's times where, you run out of things to do,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
but for the most part, I stay pretty
1,000%.
busy.
Well, that's the thing about like real estate is real estate, especially in the fix and flip business. It's typically not like a day to day business. Like at least
Yeah.
I'm big on systems,
Yep.
so I'm big on having the right people do the things that I need done, and
Yep.
over the last 6 years, I've built up my company to have, it's an oiled machine. It runs without me being there every second, every minute of the day. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you run your business similar, but that leaves us with a lot of time in the day. And I think, like,
Yep.
for me personally, that's like the tough part is like, okay, well, I got my rehabs going on. I did the live stream. I read a book. Like, okay, now what do I do? So it's like, and that's where the leisure stuff comes in because I do believe that you're allowed to have leisure,
For sure.
and
You gotta enjoy the
you gotta enjoy, right? And I know, dude, like looking at your Instagram, man, you're big on leisure sometimes, bro. Traveling to all these different islands. You're in Mexico like every other week. So you enjoy traveling, huh?
Absolutely, brother.
Dude,
Absolutely.
me too. What's your favorite place you've ever been to?
So top 2 is Turks and Caicos. It's gorgeous, but it's the most expensive place I've ever been to. And second place is Puerto Vallarta. It's the west coast of Mexico. And it's beach and jungle like 10 feet apart. So beautiful and probably one of the least expensive places I've ever been to. So,
Dude, so I was looking at the coronavirus stats the other day, and
okay.
Turks and Caicos is actually the last on the list for
To have-
active cases. Yeah. Like I think they have one. We out to Turks and Caicos, dude. Fuck it. Yeah, man. But stuff's getting crazy right now. People are freaking out, and how is all of this stuff affecting you right now in your local area in Ohio?
Yeah, so we're on a stay at home or stay safe order, whatever you want to call it. So they shut down gyms and restaurants and bars and things like that. But I mean, I went out to the grocery store the other day, and I mean, there's hella people out just doing their thing. So it's kind of like half in, half out. So I mean, that is what it is. But as far as like business, real estate slowed down a little bit because people are just kind of unsure of what's next. But we're still doing real estate, still making money on it. And then I think two major opportunities right now. One is stocks. We was talking about that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning stocks, start trading. And two, there's more people than ever before staring at this thing right here all day because they don't have to go into work. They can work from home. So everyone's on their phone all the time. So getting in front of people, being present, putting out content, putting out branding has been what I've been focusing a lot on because I think this is the time to really set yourself apart. So real estate slowed down, but I'm trying to figure out other opportunities. I started an Amazon automation store too.
No shit.
You
What are you
know?
selling? What?
So I'm not selling it. I just hired somebody to manage it for me. And they take a piece of the profits, but
Okay.
it's out of sight.
What? So by Amazon automation, do you mean like selling products on Amazon?
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
hired somebody to sell products, or
correct.
yeah,
So it's 100% hands off, and
really?
I mean it takes a few months to build it, but ideally 8 to 10 months in, you're making 6 to 10 grand a month net
Is this
without
like buying an existing operation, or like how do you get
no.
into doing that?
So it's an upfront fee. I mean, it's a nice chunk of change up front,
Right, right.
and then they take 35% of the profits. So, but they run everything. They ship it for you. They order it for you. They do everything.
Dude, we got to talk offline about that because um, getting getting into that side of e-commerce is something I'm definitely interested in. I've been
Yeah,
taking a real, I mean, with all this time on my hands, I've been taking a look into like drop shipping and stuff like that. Just
so much easier.
another, what's that?
So this is so much easier.
Yeah, just to add to the stream, right? Because I believe what you said earlier, having multiple streams of income, like it's just essential, man. Like you gotta have multiple flows. You got to,
Absolutely, 100%.
because what if one bucket tanks,
Yep,
and you put all your eggs in that basket, and now you're left with nothing. And I
agreed.
think that there's like a discrepancy. Like a lot of people think that if you have multiple streams of income or multiple businesses, that you're not all in on the one that you started with first. But that's just not
No,
true, right? What are your thoughts on that? Like, can you run multiple businesses successfully and be all in on each of them?
absolutely. I I don't think you can start 8 different businesses from nothing from
Mm,
day one because then you got way too much going on. But if you build a business and systematize it, like you said earlier, and put the people in place, and then build another business and do the same thing, and then build another business and do the same thing, like I'm sure you still touch base with your team once a week, once every 2 weeks or something to get an update.
of
So
course.
like yeah, so you're not in the business. You just have people that used to do your day to day tasks.
Hmm.
So you go from job to entrepreneur to entrepreneur. And then the entrepreneur stage is where you're kind of out of sight on the business, but it still runs. You still touch base, and it gives you time to build other businesses.
Boom. There it is. If I had I'm working on getting a gong, like these shows out here, they have a gong or Brad Lee drops a
Yeah.
bomb. I need something, man. I need something, but definitely a golden nugget right there, man. So let's talk about the stocks, right? Because we talked offline right before the show, and this is something that's brand new for you.
Yep.
Why are you taking a look into stocks right now?
It's where the money's at. I've never invested in stocks in my entire life. I've never been a fan of it. But as an entrepreneur, when you see a deal, you make something happen. So I've been like, again, doing the work, which we talked about earlier. Like I've been up till 2 a.m. watching stock videos of how to short a stock and how to go long on a stock and how to do an option on a stock. And I educated myself on it. And then I dumped a lot of money into it and just started doing it
Hmm.
because I think you can make money in it. Now I'm trying to prove that we can make money in it.
Yeah. Yeah, just like you said, man, just be educated
For
because
sure.
2017 Ross Alex, stupid idiot, lost a fucking lot of money in the market. A lot of money, dude. I told this story, so I'm not. I mean, I'm not embarrassed by it anymore. But dude, I got shredded,
How
bad,
bad?
bad, like
What'd you do?
Six-figure bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that hurts.
yeah. Oh my goodness, dude. Looking back on it, it's like I could laugh about it now, but so I didn't know, I didn't understand technical analysis, right? Because back a
Yep.
couple years ago, I got really big into cryptocurrency.
Yep.
You know, there's a ton of money to be made in crypto, but
Yeah.
crypto, and just like stocks, man, you know, unless you're doing like blue chip stocks, and I'm no expert, but like the volatile stocks in cryptos require you to understand technical analysis.
Got
Right.
you.
So if you're just buying something because you see something's going up, usually you're buying in way too late. And when you buy, it's going to start coming down. And
Yeah.
you're going to see your portfolio start to shred pounds. So
Yeah.
I didn't understand technical analysis, and I was always late to the game. So the saying is buy the rumor, sell the news. Well,
Yeah.
by the time I was buying, people were selling. So
Got you.
it was just like a fucking bad experience for me. But I still trade to this day. Like I enjoy trading. But
Yeah.
you know, anybody out there, like just like there's no such thing as a get rich overnight deal. Like even in the
Yeah.
stocks, unless you're like the luckiest person in the freaking world, and you find out that to buy something and then the next day it's gonna go up, you know, 10,000%. Like
Yeah.
you have to learn and know what you're doing before you do it, and especially if you're investing money into doing it. Like, no, because even if you take a look at Bitcoin, like everyone always talks about like the first round of people that bought Bitcoin when they were buying it for like a penny, and then they made millions. It took years for Bitcoin to like really take off,
Yeah.
you know. So it still wasn't like an overnight success for them, but
But
yeah,
you said something really good there. You lost a ton of money, but you still do it to today, right?
yeah,
That's a
I
lesson
mean,
everybody can take away. Like I see a lot of people get into business and lose money, a little bit of money, and chalk it up and be like, or a little bit of time and be like, oh, screw that, that doesn't work.
yeah, it's true, bro. Definitely. And we just talked about that. I had another guest on the show a couple days ago, and we talked about, you know, quitting too early, right? In the 3 feet from gold story, and just, you know, if it doesn't work right away, and you just throw in the towel and get pissed and say, oh, well, this doesn't work. It's a scam,
Yep.
right? And that's like it's tough for me to see people have to go through that, you know, because if they only knew that you have to stay the course, and, you know, you will get those results. But yeah, I mean, dude, you can make a lot of money in the stock market. I mean, that's not a secret. That's definitely
Yeah.
not a secret. But, you know, it's really refreshing to hear that you're watching YouTube videos, you're learning, you're studying, and this is coming from somebody that's already successful. So for the listeners out there, that's the big takeaway, right? Education never stops. It never stops.
100%.
So
100%. It doesn't start until after school.
Ooh, yeah, man, they need to revamp the freaking school system, man, and the stuff that they teach in there, right? I still haven't used the Pythagorean theorem in my career. I'm waiting. I'm waiting every day. I'm waiting.
I don't even know how to use it anymore.
But man, let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that. So for somebody out there that wants to try something new for the first time,
Yep.
how important is training, is learning, is hiring a coach, is, you know, getting around the right people?
Oh, bro, extremely important. Like I spent probably, I don't know, $140,000 last year on my continuing education, on mentors, going to masterminds, meeting people. Education never stops, ever. Once you know it all, you're done. You're screwed. It's the end of the game for you. So I believe in education. I believe in coaches. I believe in masterminds wholeheartedly. You know, day one, if you want to struggle and make it through and do a deal or two, you can do that off of YouTube. Go onto YouTube, Google whatever business you're trying to get into. First of all education is on freaking YouTube or Google, everything you want to know. But to scale it and to make real money, why not just copy somebody who's already doing it? Like copy and paste. It's the simplest thing in the world. People think like, oh no, I don't want to do that. Why the fuck not? Copy it. You feel me? Like I'm trying to cheat some mess.
Dude, that is so true, man. It's like you can literally take the blueprint, like it already exists,
And people are
just
selling
follow
like
it.
the blueprint, like here.
Yeah.
Why not do that?
Well, so let's talk about coaching, right? Because you said you spent, a nice penny on coaching and boot camps and masterminds. Do you believe in hiring a coach for accountability purposes, or is it to teach you something new, or like what does that look like for you?
So I think there's two different types of coaches, mentors, whatever you want to call them. I think there's coaches that are like in your field that, can tell you how to send a piece of direct mail, can tell you how to cold call, and can tell you how to acquire properties over the phone. For me, it's real estate. Like there's coaches that teach real estate or whatever business you're in. And then there's mentors that just teach life and business. So for me, I have one of each. I have multiple of each. But the ones that just teach life and business are the ones that push you mentally to get past something. Like I didn't start posting on you follow me on Instagram, social media. I'm posting all day, every day. I was never posting on social media until my coach forced me to post on multiple social media. And now I make a lot of money from posting on social media. I never got into the coaching and consulting business until my mentor forced me to get into the consulting business. And now I'm starting to make a lot of money doing it. So two different levels of coaches. One coach to grow your business, but then when the business is grown, you need a mentor that can help you with business in general.
So what does it mean for you to coach other people? Like why do that?
No, great question. Everyone always says like, why are you giving away all the secrets? You know what I mean? But to me, it's not competition. But the more I share, the more I give, the more I teach, the more that comes back to me. So like we do free meetups in Columbus every month where we just, teach a whole subject top to bottom. And people literally like, bro, why aren't you charging for this? Because it's free. You know what I mean? But I've done deals with people in that room. I've coached people in that room. I've lent money to people in that room. So the more you give, the more you get. And the reason that you teach people, coach, for if somebody pays you, one, when you pay attention. So I'm sure you know this, but the most frustrating thing in the world is when someone comes to you for help and you like give them your soul and they don't do anything and they do nothing. It pisses me off. So when people pay, they pay attention. And when they pay, you pay more attention. Because if I take somebody's money, I know I have to deliver. I'm paying attention. I'm not distracted. So, yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I've never heard that before, and I like that. I'm gonna write that one down. When you pay attention. That's good. Absolutely. That's solid, man.
On both sides, bro.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Of course.
Mentee and mentor.
So I actually, it's funny we're talking about this right now. In my coaching, I don't do much coaching nowadays, but I did a whole bunch back in the day, and one of my policies was if you don't do what I tell you to do, you get kicked out of the program. Like 100%. harsh, and like there's no refund because I'm not gonna waste my time showing up every week, every call to have you show up and you didn't do any assignments, you didn't do any marketing, you didn't do any negotiation. Like, I mean, it's tough, but I mean that's why I feel people hire coaches is. Coaches keep you hold you accountable, right? And they keep you in check, and they're there to give you that kick in the butt. And coaching doesn't always come off nice, right? Like if you want somebody to be nice to you, and your coach is always telling you like unicorns and rainbows and everything's all great, like well, you probably just have the wrong coach because you need somebody to just be real and be raw with you. And if you're fucking up, you need somebody to tell you you're fucking up.
Agreed. 100%.
So, it's awesome, man. And another thing, bro, on that subject, like the most successful people in the world have coaches. So I always get frustrated when people say, "Oh, well, I'm making money already. I don't need a coach." Well, so are some of the most successful business owners in the world. They have coaches, right?
Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, they're all in masterminds. They all have coaches, spiritual coaches, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Everybody has somebody.
Like for the people out there making hundreds of millions and they're hiring billionaires, right, to learn how to make their first bill. So coaches are definitely a very, very important factor to success. Agreed. Now, I want to switch gears here and talk about work-life balance, right? Because a lot of people, I get this question all the time as well. I want to work. I want to hustle, right? I watched a couple Gary Vee videos, and he's saying, head to the concrete, just grind. But I like to do things like watch Netflix, and I like to go out to restaurants and go travel and stuff like that. So what is that? What does work-life balance look like for you?
I mean, first, there's really no such thing. You hear that all the time. There's no, 6 hours of work and 6 hours of family time. Like, that doesn't exist. Some days you can do it for sure, but it doesn't exist across the board. But for me, we already hit on it earlier. I believe you have to enjoy the fruits of your labor, because when you do enjoy it, you get a nice watch, you go on a trip, you get a nice car. It reminds you of why you're hustling so hard, and it pushes you. So I believe with you 100%, you have to do those things. But you want to create a business that you can do those things from anywhere. You know what I mean? If you're a coach, and the only way that you coach is in person at your office, sitting behind the desk with your client across the desk from you, like, you limit yourself a lot. Like, you have to be there. You got to be present. I don't want to do that. I want to work from anywhere in the world. So I think you can have more of a work-life balance if you make things virtual and be able to run anywhere. So that's one thing. And second thing, I had a second thing.
It's all good. We'll leave the second thing for part two. But let me ask you this, Austin. On a day-to-day basis, you got it?
I remember.
Okay.
I remember everything. So there's 24 hours in a day, right? A lot of people work 10 hours, but they only work 3 of those hours because they're checking their phone, they're talking to their friend, they're going to the bathroom, they're getting lunch. So when you can shrink down your productivity, you can have more of a work-life balance, because you're working when you're working and you're kicking it when you're kicking it. So I think that's another huge thing, is to actually be productive and not just be working.
Boom. On a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, yearly basis, right, year after year, since you've been in your business, do you feel fulfilled?
Yes and no. I'm happy to grow and do what I'm doing, but I always want more. So it's a yes and no question. It's a 2-part. Am I satisfied? No. Am I fulfilled? Yeah. But like, for me, I get the most fulfillment when I give back and help others. So like, we adopt families every Christmas. We do back to school book bag giveaways every summer. So like, I do a lot, and I get fulfillment out of that. I love doing that. A simple thank you goes, so far.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I get fulfillment out of that, and coaching people. I get a text message like, "Yo, I just got my first $20,000 deal." Like, that brings me happiness. You know what I mean? Actually changing people's lives. So I guess I'm fulfilled for the most part, but I'm not satisfied.
Does the lack of satisfaction frustrate you?
No, I like it. I like the challenge. I like the struggle. I like the hustle. I'm always trying to make more. I'm trying to do more.
You like the chase.
Yeah.
You like the drive. Yeah.
I do.
I dig it.
You got to enjoy it along the way.
You have to enjoy it. There's like two sides of the whole, like, do what you're passionate about argument. One side says, don't do what you're passionate about, do what makes you money so that you can use the money to do what you're passionate about. And then the other side says, well, start a business that you're passionate about, and like, that whole argument. So where do you fall on that spectrum?
It's hard to do stuff without money. It's very difficult. Like, if your passion is helping, kids that have been abducted, it's hard to really make an impact. So like, you have to save yourself first. I see a lot of people helping too many people, and they never really help them. Like, if you can save one kid a year, like, that's great. Number one, that's phenomenal that you even want to do that. But is that really changing the world? I don't think it is. You know what I mean? It's changing that kid's life, but I don't think it's changing the world. But if you can go out there and make a company that you make $1 million on, $10 million on, $100 million on, and then you can save 10,000 kids a year, that's changing the world. So I think you have to save yourself, make money, and then put it into your passion.
Right. It's like the airplane example. You got to put your mask on first before the person next to you, so that you
Yep.
can help that person. Yeah, I agree, man. I definitely agree. For me, real estate has never been passion for me, honestly. Like I've done it hundreds of times, but I don't feel emotional towards a house. You know, I
Yeah.
buy it, I want to fucking sell it and make
Make money.
money, you know? For me, just like you, man, it's helping people, right? Like putting messages out there. Because when we help people, bro, I mean, just like you said, that's all ultimate fulfillment, you know? Knowing
Absolutely.
that we were able to impact somebody's life and make
For sure.
them a better person. So I agree with you
100.
100%. And also, to be blunt, some passions don't fucking pay. They just don't pay. You know, like
Straight up.
getting a degree in philosophy in university is probably not going to pay that
No.
well. I mean, it might, but probably not, you know? So you
But
definitely, yeah.
you can go build a business for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of your life that
Mm-hmm.
produces real income,
Mm-hmm.
multiple six, multiple seven figures, systematize it, and then go do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Do whatever you want to do. Exactly.
Period.
You know, you got your whole life ahead of you. It's never too late to get started. Never too
Agreed.
late, right? I
Agreed.
read an article not long ago about somebody that went to medical school at like age 50 and
I love it.
graduated and practicing medicine in their 60s. You know, it's never too late.
Love it. Love it.
All right, we're gonna switch gears up again here and talk about some of your favorite books. Like, which books would you really recommend? I know for those of you that are watching on video, you see Austin has a whole library behind him. For the audio listeners, go check out the YouTube video. But yeah, what are some of your favorite books back there, man?
Yeah, I mean, Think and Grow Rich is number one. You know, that's what changed my life. It just made me understand the opportunity that's out there for everybody. You know, rich, small, black, white, yellow, pink, whatever it is. Everybody's got the same opportunity. So love that book for sure. There's Relentlessness by Tim Grover. He was Michael Jordan's coach. That's a really good book, just about grit and putting in the work. And then how to win friends and influence people. And then there's a new one, it's how to win friends and influence people of the digital age or something, or the digital age. Is that's the world that we live in now. It's a social media world. It's a digital world. That I actually read that like a month ago. I got a lot of value out of that too. So those would be the top three that come to my head.
I like it, man. So y'all write those down and check them out if you haven't already. Going forward, right? Talking about the finish line now. Next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. What's next for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have so I plan a year ahead, and then I have like the end goal. So the end goal is to have multiple businesses generating 10 million net per year, and then me just traveling the world, hanging out with the fam, and seeing the world. So that's the end goal. But you know, obviously, we got to create the businesses that generate $10 million a year net. So I mean, this year we got the real estate company that's got to go. We got a rental company that's got to go. We got the education company that's got to go. So that's what we're focused on right now.
I like it, man. Now, you're all over social media, right? People are definitely gonna want to follow you, and I also
Yep.
know that you're an author as well, right? We got to
That's
talk
one
about
of
that.
my favorite books.
Yeah, hey, dude, we got to talk about that, man. So, I definitely admire the fact that you wrote a book, man. Like to me, that's amazing, dude. That's amazing. It's called From Valet to Millionaire. Is that
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay.
Yep.
I need to get my copy, by the way. I don't have I'm gonna admit right now I don't have a copy, so I'm gonna order one after this live stream. But let's talk about the book, the inspiration, the process. You know, did you just type it out, write it out? How long did it take you? You know, give me the details.
For sure. So again, my mentor pushed me to write a book. So having a coach or a mentor is huge. They just push you outside your comfort zone. But like everybody I've heard write a book, they talk about how hard it is and how long it takes and all these things that just make writing a book just not seem fun. So for me, I put like I don't even know what it's called, but like a plan of the book, like chapters
Oh,
that I
that would
wanted
be
to.
the hang on, 10th grade English. No, maybe
It shows
fifth
you how
grade
much I
English.
know about writing books.
The fucking, not the Venn diagram. What is that called? The fucking, the
Plan,
outline. The
whatever.
outline. The outline.
Method.
Outline.
Yep.
Okay.
So the outline together. So I wrote the chapters, then I put the outline together, and then I put the stories that I wanted to tell in each chapter. You want the real story. So I flew to Anguilla, which is an island in the middle of the Caribbean, to write this book and to put together a course on how to raise private money. So on the flight to Anguilla, there was, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. I did the entire outline. And then I went for 45 days. I went to Anguilla and St. Martin and St. Bart's for 45 days. And in the first 10 days, I wrote the entire book. So I woke up in the morning. I wrote the book for like 30 to 60 minutes, just type. And then in the evening, same thing, about an hour. So 10 days, knocked the whole book out. Sent it to an editor. They edited it. I sent it to I hired somebody on Fiverr to create a book cover and then put it on Amazon and they print them for you. So people try to complicate this whole process, but like doing the work, you just got to lock in and do the work. I probably had, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks total. It took longer than that because, you got to wait, but 2 to 3 weeks of actual like book process.
Yeah. Dude, that's amazing, man. I'm in the process of writing a book right now, and that's because I just started kicking myself in the ass. I'm like, I need to put this book out. But, it starts with the idea, right? Like, you want to do something, you need to map it out, plan it, and just take action on it. Like, I love what you said there. It's not as difficult as you think it is. It's just not, right? And the same goes for buying real estate. Like, real estate is everywhere. For those of you that want to buy real estate, drive around your local area. If you see a house that looks like it's distressed, maybe a boarded up window, maybe some tall grass, write that address down. Find out who owns that property. Contact them. Half the stuff is free. You can skip trace these people online for free. It's Facebook, not as difficult. Yeah, Facebook. There you go. Reach out. Everyone's on Facebook. So I like that, man. So you got the book. Where can they pick that up? You said Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, or you can go to austinrutherfordofficial.com, austinrutherfordofficial.com,
okay.
And it's on.
And we'll link that in the show notes as well as your socials, your Instagram, your Facebook. What is there like a preference on where people should reach out to you?
Instagram for sure. Austin Rutherford Official is the Instagram tag as well. Boom. So I'm on there all the time. And
then you got the podcast, right? You got the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Yep. Okay.
Just dropped the podcast. It's called Elevate Your Life. So just one episode's out. Second episode's dropping on Monday. And then I got the YouTube channel. We started about a month ago, and that's just Austin Rutherford.
Everywhere, omnipresent. I like
Trying
it.
To be.
I like it, man. I like it. All right, brother. So we're gonna hit you with the last question here, and I ask every guest this question. I want you to take a minute or 30 seconds, however long it takes you to really think about the answer here. And the question is, in your entire life, what is the best advice that you've ever received?
Yeah, I want to hear what other people say. So you're going to have to let me know what they say.
For sure.
But for me, one thing that kind of ties everything back together for me is that the one thing that you can never have more of in this life, one thing you can get more money, you can get more, men or women or fun or alcohol. You can get more of everything except one thing, and that's time. You'll never get more time back in your life. So when you understand the power of that, some people make $1 million an hour and some people make $8 an hour. So how do you overcome those obstacles? It's because they value their time. They don't waste it. They get up in the morning. They don't sit there and text for 3 hours and scroll through Instagram and go out and kick it with their homies, 5 hours a day. They value their time and they use it wisely and spend it with the people that they want to spend it with. So that's always been something for me.
That's a boom moment right there. Golden nugget. I love it.
Gotta get the gong.
Gotta get the gong. I'm probably add some effects. Can't buy, time's not for sale, right? No. I agree with that, man. That's some really, really powerful advice right there. Now, with that being said, Austin, I want to thank you so much for being a guest here on the Started Somewhere podcast, man. It's been amazing. So much value, so much insight, and I can't wait to see what's next for you in the coming years, man. Of course, we're going to stay connected, and It's been awesome, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother.
All
Appreciate the
right.
opportunity, my man.
See you next time, man.